Hey, everybody, welcome to the Kid Contractor Podcast. Welcome to the show, folks. Got an episode today. It's one I call a corporate. I call these my corporate interviews. And our goal with the corporate interviews is when we talk to a brand is that it's not going to be a sales pitch and a sales bar fest and all that kind of stuff. We're going to cover a lot of different ground. And when we had Nicole on from CompanyCam, she did awesome. I only had one, what I call my corporate podcast, really tank. I mean, it was just really bad. It was just no good. And we actually never released it. But we had one with ADS, Advanced Drainage Systems, a while ago. And in the intro with the president of marketing, I botched the acronym, the full name of ADS, right to the guy right in front of him. Brian King was awesome, super cool and gracious about it. And I was a total idiot. And that was like actually ended up being one of our best corporate podcasts. Brian was awesome, really rolled with it well. And I'm going to presume that Elle is going to be no different. Hello, Elle from CompanyCam. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. And thank you for the time. And also here, as you folks know, CompanyCam, the sponsor, the people that allow this crazy show, this train wreck of a podcast as we know it to continue for some reason. They still
one of our favorites.
They will still hang their hat on the Kid Contractor Podcast, and I appreciate that a bunch. So, and big thanks to you. And we use CompanyCam, by the way. It's a freaking handy app. I really, it's one of those things like, you know, it's easy to have a sponsor, right? It's another thing to actually have a sponsor of a product or something that you really, actually utilize. And our guys use it in the field, and we use it here at the company, and it really is slick. Okay, so Elle, how are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm super stoked to be here. I appreciate it that you guys actually use CompanyCam in the field. It's a lot easier to get it once you've used the app. And I know for a lot of landscapers and contractors, it has just been a total game changer, and it just makes their lives things just click all of a sudden after they start using it. So that's great to hear.
I was just talking to Austin with Ditch the Itch up in Michigan, and they just started using CompanyCam, and I don't have that handy. He actually said this is an incredible app. And so shout out there to Ditch the Itch in Michigan. We had him on the show actually a few weeks ago. He has a company that does poison ivy control. That's literally what they do. That's their business model. It's interesting, very unique.
Nice.
And so that's their thing there. But Elle, now you folks are based out in Nebraska. Are you in Nebraska as well, or are you remote from there?
I am. I'm in Lincoln, which is where we're headquartered. We have I would say probably half of our employees. We're up to over 200 employees. I think half of us are probably
cow, I didn't know that.
Nebraska. Yeah, we've just grown so much. So the start of COVID, March 2020, I think we were rocking with 40 employees maybe. And we have just kept growing and growing and growing. And it has been so awesome to be along for the ride. So when I started, which was September of 2021, we were at 110 maybe. And yeah, we've added 90 more employees since then. So it's been, we just keep rocking. But we've got employees kind of spread all over. We've got, I think, an engineer in Hawaii, a couple of guys in North Carolina. We had somebody down in Argentina for a while. So we're super, super, spread out. We had somebody on our marketing team who was in Puerto Rico, who's back in Nebraska now. So yeah, we're all over the place, but there's a good chunk of us here in Lincoln. So
okay, cool. And well, that was actually a question. And this is rare, especially have some show prep, folks. This is nuts. Look out. That was actually question number 7 on the list that we may or may not get to. Who knows? Was how did the whole COVID thing affect CompanyCam? Did you see the question is answered now, but you saw a growth in that during that time. And what do you attribute that to that craziness or what?
I think part of that was just the general sense of everybody is home. Everybody wants to fix up their house during COVID, right? We all know that there was construction, other than supply chain issues, really as a whole, contracting and construction in general, unless you're had a huge commercial project that maybe got put on hold, but especially residential, just kept trucking. So people wanted to keep investing into their homes. They were spending a lot more time at home. And we saw maybe a little bit of dip in business for the industry as a whole. And then it's just kind of kept chugging along despite all of the stuff that's been thrown their way when it comes to supply chain problems, we really have been super successful. So it's weird. It's weird to be like a part of the minority of the economy that like did well during
Yeah.
COVID, but it's like, it felt really good, and our success has just like kept going. We've had like our best month ever, like a couple months in a row. So yeah, things are going great for us. It's been nice.
That's awesome. Now, how do you measure? And by the way, the Kid Contractor podcast will take all the credit for that, by the way. So you're welcome.
Yes.
Then
our sponsored podcasts that really are bringing in the dough for us.
You know it. Hey, that's the idea here, folks. Every bit helps. That's right. But in all actuality, what do you folks call success? What is success? How do you measure it? Is it just folks that sign up for it? Feedback? What is it to you folks?
Yeah, so really what we want is we want every contractor, every pro, every like trade professional to be using CompanyCam. That is like how we see success. Is like we want to be the only app that every contractor needs. That's like truly like live or die by it. I mean, we know that like our tool fits into so many different use cases. You mentioned the guy that's doing mitigation on poison ivy, and then it's like we've got landscapers of all kinds, hardscapers, general contractors, roofers, exteriors guys, restoration pros, like you name it, we kind of fit the bill in some way and fill like a kind of hole in the tech stack that people have. So really like we won't call it a success, I don't think, until we're at like 90% market saturation. When we hit the ceiling, that's when we'll feel really good. So
speaking about a wide genre of contractors, what do you know of any off the top of your head is like, whoa, we really didn't intend or expect, this business or contractor or person that would be utilizing, a business name you see come across, of like, has there been any outliers of like, oh, well, that's not exactly what we ever foresaw, being CompanyCam being used for?
Yeah, we have a couple of like traveling like detailers, like kind of like auto detail stuff. We've got some people that do like interior like rug cleaning, stuff like that. Like all sorts of people need photo documentation as like part of their process, that we're doing it poorly before. So like, hey, this was here when I got here, this wasn't me, or like this is what it looked like before we got here, this is now what it looks like since we fixed it, stuff like that. So when our app started, Luke, our founder, was working for his family's roofing business. So it really started as like a tool for their roofing company where they were experiencing a problem of, we have all these jobs happening at all different, stages. And we've got guys that are supposed to be taking photos, but then they need them to file the insurance claim or to like prove to insurance that the job is complete and, up to snuff. And somebody doesn't have the photos anymore. So it's like, how can we solve our own internal problem? And then once it got to a point where they had it kind of the major, kinks worked out for their own use case, it was like, hey, I think some other people would benefit from this too. So really at its core, we started as like an app for roofers, but there are just so many different trades that need, photo documentation. And we've grown so much just out of the photo documentation too. You can do video walkthroughs. So I know a lot of like custom home builders are using it for that, where you can take like a video of a project with like your front facing camera, but then also your selfie camera kind of up in the corner. So you can like narrate and they can see you narrating as you're like walking through a property. We've got realtors using it for that use case. Home inspectors. There's a ton of different people who need those, even like top level tools outside of just like general photo documentation.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say we actually just got into it there because I should have led the show, I guess maybe more so with like what the heck CompanyCam even is, for folks maybe not they hear it here as a sponsor on the show, but when we talk about using it for photo documentation, what's the elevator pitch, or how do you describe that to somebody of like when you're out having margaritas or whatever, that you work for a company called CompanyCam, and what the heck is this thing? What's it do?
Yeah. So at its core, we are like the visual communication tool for contractors. So whether you need to document before and afters of like a roofing job, or like you're taking, progress photos of a home renovation, that is what we are at its core. But like really top level, what we do is we get every photo, every video, every chat, every document. You can even sign documents within our like app now, and on the desktop client too. So you can use it like, a project manager back at the office can be looking at stuff while somebody's out in the field. So that is really what we are at its core, is like every photo, every document, every chat, every video, all in one app. So we're not trying
Yeah.
to do it all. The things that we do, we want to do really, really well.
Right. That's exactly what they say. It's better to be a mile deep than a mile wide, which is something I need to put in my own practice here at Almond, because we get spread too thin sometimes, taking on a million different ventures. But one of the things I tell my contractor followers and people all the time is it's really important when you get to a job and you look at a project ahead of doing the project, be it a roof, be it a plumbing repair or landscape project. You need to document the site ahead of time so that you can prove that
Definitely.
you did or did not crack Mrs. Herfenherbler's sidewalk or foundation, or you did or did not put that rock through the siding, or whatever the case is. And that pre-documentation will save your tail. I think there's an ad you folks had out a little while ago. It was a really effective one, but it was talking about I think it came across my Instagram feed, but it's exactly what I've been talking about. And I've had this happen before, where in our line of work as hardscape contractors, landscape contractors, drainage people, we come in with heavy equipment and
Yep.
drive around the yard and get up near the house and all that stuff. And we'll get a comment from a homeowner of like that downspout wasn't dented before you
You
guys started
crushed my
digging.
downspout. You ran over my sprinkler head, yada,
You
yada,
name
yada.
it.
And it's like, no, it was your riding lawn guy from last year that you hired down the street that had a riding mower that you were paying $10 to come do your lawn. That's who crushed it, not us.
A hundred
But if
percent.
you don't have the time-stamped photo documentation, it's like, well, we've talked to landscapers too and I think Paul Jameson feels the same way. We've talked to local landscapers here that feel the same way, where it's like sometimes though, if you don't have that pre-documentation, I'm sure you would agree with this too, it's better for your business reputation to just kind of take the hit and be like, you know what? I don't think we did that, but we're going to go ahead and just pay to fix the downspout. We'll buy you a new one. Or like, you know what? We'll come back in and we'll repair your sprinkler head, because it's
Right.
not worth losing a client over that sort of, argument. But at the same point, if you're doing, everything that you need to do for your own internal process on your team, it's a lot easier to have that conversation and be like, hey, here exactly is like the timestamp photo from 3 weeks ago showing you that like that's what it looked like when we got here. So, and it just,
Exactly.
those conversations end so much smoother, and like, your butt's not on the line. So
100%. That's exactly when I go look at a project, and I do the pre-documentation, you call it. We're called pre-doc to sound cool, but we do the pre-doc, and it's I'll take photos of the work area and anything I do notice, like a crack in the sidewalk or a crack in whatever, and to literally, yeah, cover CYA, right, cover your tail. And
yep.
it's a huge part of making sure that project goes smoothly. And like you said, you really are just better off in most cases. I mean, there are cases where you can tell a homeowner's trying to take you, or for a client or a contractor, or if you're working under someone, like, is trying to take you for a ride. There are those people out there, without a doubt. They're just going to take advantage of you if
Definitely.
they can. But having that photo documentation is really the way to go. The cool thing to do is, say that downspout is crushed against the house or whatever, is go ahead and repair it. But then also, hey, we took care of that for you. But here, just to show you, it wasn't like that or it was like that when we got here. Here's a photo, time stamped through our app. When I did the estimate, I did document it, and you win points that way, right? And it does show that you care about the customer, you care about the relationship, and it's exactly the reason most stores now will take back when you buy something. You go out in a parking lot and drop it and return it, which I don't think. I'll get off my moral high horse here. I don't think that's an ethical thing to do, really, because that's not their fault. That's your fault. You dropped it in a parking lot and broke it. But
Yep.
you can walk that thing right back in the store and they will take it back. And the reason is, folks, it's because they see you as long-term recurring revenue. And if they don't take something back, because even though you dropped it, you still don't think you're the one that broke it because it didn't work when you got home, they want you to spend money there next week again. And they'll say, sure, Mrs.
Absolutely.
Herfenherbler, we'll take that thing back because we want you spending money here next month instead of swearing us off. And then also, telling all your friends that, hey, don't buy a product here from XYZ company because, well, it doesn't work, whatever. You're exactly right to that point, Ellie, of like, you're better off. And Paver King on, he said this so well. They'll take expenses like that and take the loss and put it in their marketing budget, because
Yep.
essentially is the equivalent of marketing, because they're saving that relationship or purchasing essentially another job or another lead through that customer. Because again, I would warn you, make sure it's not a client that's just trying to take advantage of someone, right? But that's what the whole CompanyCam pre-doc thing. That sounds so cool, doesn't it? Pre-doc it literally saves your tail. And I did it 2 summers ago on a project. There was a cracked foundation, and I just went ahead. I told the client ahead of time, hey, I just want to note this for you. This was like this when we got here. I've already taken photos of it. We're cool. We're good. And that's like the thing. So yeah,
it is. Well, and like, what is an after photo if you didn't take a before, right? Like your photo of like whatever you think you did is pretty useless if you don't have the like to show what it looked like before you did the work. So like, yeah, your pretty marketing photos that you can show of like, we had some high-end photographer come out and document this job site, this roofing, this like amazing exterior that we did. We did siding and, gutters and the whole 9 yards and new shingles. They got the architectural grade. It's like, okay, but what did it look like before? Because that's what I really care about. Because I don't know what
philosophical stuff right there.
Yeah.
If you didn't take a before picture, was it ever not that way? Right from the after, the quote unquote after photo. Yeah, that's straight up like Greek philosophy there. I like it, Ellie. Yeah.
If a tree falls in the forest, right?
It's literally that line. Like, if there's no photo to prove it hasn't looked like this always, did you really even do this work? We don't know. You can't. Yeah. Anyway, that's how my twisted brain looks at that. That's really funny. It can't be called an after photo if there's no before. That's so good. Man, that is straight. It's like Diogenes or something up in here. Okay, Ellie. Then so let's see here. Luke, the founder, is a roofing guy, and then found all this stuff to go through. And then the CompanyCam thing is the pricing always surprised me too. Here's the sales pitch, folks. But the pricing is pretty reasonable. I mean, the lowest bracket or tier is very, very reasonable. And there's a trial period too, folks.
There is. So we've got a couple different levels of our like product that you can do. So there's 2 levels. We start with our, like, if you get into a trial, you'll end up on our pro account, which is awesome. So what you'll pay for pro is like $19 a month per user. That's if you pay like annually, which is awesome. You might as well just buy it. So that is, when you think about it that way, like, what is something that you've had to spend $20 on a month? You know what I mean? That's like to cover to solve so many problems that you're going to run into. But that like video walkthrough mode, and like you can also add, one of the cool new things we've got is like you can add your logo onto the photos. So like you don't have to worry about someone grabbing a photo that you took and running off with it and saying it's there before and after, right? Because if you're using CompanyCam, you'll have the before and the after. But you can add your logo sticker onto everything on our premium account, and that's where you get that like super cool video walkthrough. And that is $29 per user per month. But I think in general, like, that is still so inexpensive in the grand scheme of like what a bad review about some damage that you didn't cause can cost your business. I had a pest control guy. We get like a guy that comes out and does like quarterly sprays on the exterior of our house. So because we live in like a 100-year-old brick house, and it's like there's a lot of ways that a little bug could find it. And so we just pay for the spray and then we don't have to worry about it. But like he had all of these amazing like 5-star Google reviews, and he had said like you won't believe how much like it hurts to get like 1 star, even if it's like a fake one. But if you can prevent like 1 bad review from making it online, like that will save you so much business, because people who are like scrolling those on Google for the most part don't know if it's like a legit 1-star review or not. So if you can save yourself and keep a customer happy, it will get you so much more business that way. So to me, it's kind of like a no-brainer expense. You just factor it into like your bottom line. That's just the cost of doing business, is you got to have stuff like this.
As Mark Bradley with LMN would be preaching right now, another supporter of all the endeavors here at Almond, the Hardscape Academy, Kid Contractor Podcast, Together in Trades. I don't know what else we got going on, all this other stuff. But he would say is you literally price that in. You price that into your overhead. You're exactly right. Yes. And every job you do pays for that, overhead of, be it $19 a month or, 60 or whatever you got going on with, the users. And it's exactly what you do is you build that into work. I want to ask you on selecting. This is something I think Nicole and I went down a road of like selecting contractors. And I want to ask you that about the bug guy. But first, I better get to this part of the business. You've got a cool thing called Blueprint, which we've talked about on a couple episodes prior here. It's in 3 cities. I remember the D ones. It's Dallas and Denver, right? And then there's
Dallas and Denver, our first two, will be in Dallas on May 3rd, Denver on May 17th, and Chicago on May 31st. So we'll
Chicago.
be kind of making the rounds. Yep, Dallas, Denver, and Chicago. They're all on Wednesdays. It's one day that you'll take off, and it will give you so many tools to grow your business. I know for some people, like we're in busy season. I think it's worth taking 3 of your guys and coming to for sure for a day of learning. We've got Sean Van Dyke as our keynote. He's going to be presenting on a keynote about like creating kind of like a flywheel of business where it's like how to make, the referrals come in and how to turn those into new sales, how to make your customers happy. We've got just kind of like a killer lineup of folks that are joining us. We'll have like Sumo Quote will be there, Leap will be there, Groundwork will be there, Sales Transformation Group. Rilla is our diamond level sponsor. We're super stoked to be working with Rilla. Basically what they do is monitoring like sales calls and audio analytics for sales to help your sales guys like know how to really sell the best way possible. So yeah, we're really excited to be working with Rilla. It's just going to be like a great, really well-rounded day of programming. It's just a one-day event. When you think about how much it costs to take your whole team to like a trade show and you catch like maybe a session or two, but most of your time is spent just kind of like walking the floor and checking stuff out, which is awesome. But really like this is a day of professional development is how we're looking at it. Like this isn't just a trade show. It's like a day of professional development that's really going to help you grow your business. And it's not just for CompanyCam users. I should say that too. Like anyone's welcome to join.
Yeah, it's it's again called Blueprint, and it's in Dallas, Denver, and Chicago. I definitely would Denver, a beautiful city. Golly, and who doesn't anymore? It seems like love the Rocky region out there. My gosh, it's incredible. It's 100% worth anytime you can invest in yourself like that. It's a cliche thing to say anymore, but it is 100% like people are, it's a weird thing kind of starting the college conversation is, starting to shift a little bit, I feel like. But this is the thing. It's like, if you choose not to go to college or whatever, you still have to educate yourself. And this kind of stuff, I think, is the future of that mindset shift of education. And you're going to see a lot more of these kind of things. And like why online courses are so popular now and stuff like that. People are more interested in dialing and drilling in on like specific aspects of what they want to learn and want to become proficient at. And I'd encourage you to check it out, folks. Where would folks, if they want to see what this Blueprint thing's all about, where would they go here?
Yeah, so you just go to companycam.com/blueprint, and we have this really slick, like embedded checkout process right on the page. So you don't have to like go to a third-party ticketing site. You can buy a ticket right there. You tell me what you want. I think our tickets base price are like $100 a person for the day. But Caleb, you tell me what you want your promo code to be, and we'll knock it down to like $25. So I can run we can run a deal so that anybody that's listening can get a ticket for $25. And yeah, we'd love to just, have everybody that can join us. I think it's definitely worth it to hone in on those, like you said, that really specialized stuff that's like just for contractors. So it's not like a gen ed course, right? This is like specialized education for people in the trades who are construction pros, who are contractors, to really take their business to the next level.
Awesome.
Speaking of that, we've got kind of like 3 different tracks of like topics that we're running for the day. So we'll be talking about like technology, so ways to automate your business, like all the different pieces of a tech stack that you need. We'll have a lot of our integration partners there, so you can like kind of build your ideal tech stack right there. We'll have reps
what is a
from
tech stack? Would you elaborate on that, Ellie?
Yeah. So tech stack, we call a tech stack like any piece of technology that you're using, whether it's apps or like desktop, to really automate everything that you can about your business. So whether that's like your CRM, CompanyCam is your photo documentation tool, however you're running billing, any piece of that you're using that is like automated technology that helps you grow your business. So we'll be talking about that. Also growing your team and how to create like sales teams that crush it. And then also let's see, tech, team, and traction. So we'll have the sales stuff as well, and then the team building. It's so well rounded. We're also having like social media panels about how social media grows your business. So we've got Matt Brading from Texas Edge Inspect will join us in Dallas. Kaufman Construction will be joining us in Denver, and then Austin Bloomquist, that's Roofer TikTok, will be in Chicago. So there's just like so much to learn. You're gonna have a hard time picking what session to go to. It's really going to be your problem.
That's awesome. Well, so check that out. Go to CompanyCam /CompanyCam.com/blueprint, right? Or just Google that stuff is what I would do, because I won't remember the / and all that. So that's my little hack on that there, folks. The Rilla app thing you were talking about, and I was going to get into like AI and CompanyCam and all. Does that Rilla app like listen to the conversation and use AI to figure out what the tone of the customer is or whatever? Is it something like that I'm in picking up on? Do you know?
Yeah, so Rilla is just a really, really awesome tool that is specifically like speech analytics for field sales. So it kind of like captures conversations from like a rep's phone or tablet, and it transcribes it using AI, and then analyzes their conversations to like help your salespeople level up their sales pitch. It's awesome. Yeah, and really, it is like next level technology. If you've got, like 5 sales guys out having conversations, making like, proposals for big projects, whether that's like residential or commercial. If you've got like more than 50 employees, this is a tool that you need, definitely. And we'll have other, pieces of tech that are like, kind of any size business, like Sumo Quote will be there, Leap. So there's a lot of different pieces of tech, Groundworks. We've got a couple more of our integration partners that are joining us too, that it's like, you don't have to be a giant business for your like company to benefit from this, but Real is definitely more for that, like, enterprise level company.
Well, speaking of giant business and stuff, I mean, we're a small company. We have 4 full-time guys, and like I said, Mr. Bo uses CompanyCam, and then Keith, our other guy, because they kind of will run independent of each other, let's say crew-wise. And so we're not a big company, but we're still documenting stuff that way. So you don't have to be, I mean, it's a great way, instead of, because here's what we used to do is the guys would text me or text the company group text chat and send me pictures of something going on. And then it's like, oh, hey, remember, the Herfenerbler job from 6 months ago? Yeah, that issue there. Yeah, but I'm going to have to scroll back 85,000 texts, to find the thing. So the CompanyCam
you're like
thing,
waiting for it to load while you're trying to like scroll up on the conversation. You're like trying to pull up the photo. It's a nightmare.
And that's exactly what the CompanyCam thing fixed for us, was like, now we can look at a job we did last summer, because we're going back to do phase 2 of it. And we get into, again, the Herfenerbler is always the name I use, but we go back into the Herfenerbler file, just right there, bam. And it'll even geotag if we're close to the site. It'll say nearby job sites, or if we're on that site, it'll say this job site here. It's nuts. It's seriously so handy. I can't, be. I really am proud to endorse CompanyCam like that, because it's seriously a great app. So all the AI chat and all the AI stuff, to prove that you're not an AI bot, Ellie, what do you do for fun? How do we humanize you? What do you do outside of CompanyCam?
Oh, so for fun, this is like kind of a fun but kind of nerdy thing. I love like mid-century furniture. So I'll buy like vintage mid-century kind of used pieces. And then my neighbor, because we don't have a garage at our house, we live in like a 110-year-old house and it doesn't have a garage. So our neighbor lets me use her garage and I'll refinish them. So that's like a fun thing. Yeah. I also do some landscaping. We've like totally redone our backyard. We actually have a stock tank pool. That's really fun. The kids are stoked about that this summer. We got it hooked up. We call it our like hillbilly pool.
I'm all
punch
about
some holes in the side with a hole saw, and we've got like a pump and filter hooked up to it and everything. So it's you're pretty fancy.
No, that's like upper class redneck kind of. You put a filler on it, like that's upper class redneck. That is the rednecks at the almonds. We just take that tank filled full of water, and then we overflow it when it starts turning green or something. Because we're low class redneck. You're fancy out there in Lincoln. My God, filter system on it. Geez, high dollar living out there. That's awesome. I love it. No, my cousins did the same thing. It's like an 8-foot round big stock tank, and
8 foot by, I don't know, like 1.5 feet or something. It's just perfect for like we'll have friends over in the evening, and Like, it's chlorinated. The kids have peed in it, but it's clean now. Don't worry. There's chlorine. We all sit in with our beers and relax. It's
You got
great.
that filter system on there. It's fine anyways. That is
Yeah, it's cool.
so awesome, Ellie. I love it. On the furniture refinishing thing, which is this well, you say mid-century. I'm thinking more Gothic, but it's more Victorian style, probably. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Do you have an Etsy account or anything that you want to share? That you do resell it or repurpose it or Instagram or
I
anything?
mostly like, I don't really resell anything. It's mostly like, I'll sell a piece here or there on Craigslist once like we've used it and we want something different. But I've refinished a couple things like for friends and stuff. But I've got 2 kids and a full-time job, so it usually takes me a while to get anything.
What in the world drew you into that? Of like what attracts you to that furniture style? Let's say.
Okay, I do have a story. So I went to a garage sale back in my hometown when I was in college, and
What's your hometown shout out?
I'm from Kearney, Nebraska, so like smack dab in the middle. If you look up like Sandhill crane migration, it is like the spot on the bottleneck of their migration where like we get every Sandhill crane ever to stop for like a week. It's so bizarre, and we just actually drove back through, and they were all leaving. It was like, oh, I kind of missed that.
Oh, geez,
But
that's interesting.
yeah, I went through a garage sale and got this like $5 coffee table, and I was like, this is kind of cool. Like, what is this? Went home and looked up like the mark on the bottom. Was like, whoa, those sell for like $600 when they're refinished. So I refinished that one, hung on to it for quite a while, and then finally sold it. We got a different coffee table. But it was like, wow, there's like people actually appreciate this stuff. And I just thought it was like a one cool find, kind of unlocked like a whole world. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Well, it's cool. I'm always intrigued the backstory on things. I guess I'm a dork like that, but that's super cool. I love knowing what makes people tick sometimes outside of, work and family stuff. So, I appreciate you sharing. Thank you. It's super cool actually. Let's see, we're already at, oh my gosh, 32 minutes already. What the heck? Well, let's scroll through some stuff here. Oh, another like more consumer based question. Again, this is an attempt to keep us from being like just a CompanyCam pitch fest, which is, don't tell Luke, but we can't just pitch the product the whole time. Nobody wants to listen to that. Tell me, because this is again things, aside from CompanyCam, the app itself helping contractors, like from a consumer standpoint, you mentioned your bug spray guy, and this is something that, how did you choose how did you choose bug spray contractor, or like what, you know what I mean? Did you?
Yeah.
What was that process?
He said he was really worried, and this was like after we'd been using him for like, I don't know, 2 years. And he actually he's not even in the spraying game anymore. He mostly just does like bat removal and kind of fixes like pests. He's more like pest control than he is like bug stuff. It's more like the actual like animal part of it.
Okay, yeah.
But he had said like, man, I got this one bad review, and it was like a totally bogus Google review that he said he was super worried about. And so I hadn't like looked at his Google reviews since I had been like initially looking for a pest control person to come out and spray. And he still had like a 5-star, I think it was like what, 4.9 Google rating. So like that's where I turn, is like to Google. And I think a lot of people do, is they're kind of looking stuff up, online to see who's top rated in their area, and keep an eye out on stuff that we might be launching in that kind of vein, by the way. No.
What? Yeah. Well, what was that? I'm sorry.
I said I'm giving you a little teaser here, but just beware.
I was going to say, yeah.
Be into that space here. So
interesting. Is that all? Is that all the information you can divulge at the moment?
That's all the information I'm going to give now, but I'll come back on when we've got stuff live. And
we'll like a review type system, review concept.
Yeah, yeah, way to verify, who you're hiring and the kind of work that they do.
Interesting. And so then back to the Google thing then for the time being. What you selecting a contractor or whatever, what is like what's the lowest, or where would you begin to raise an eyebrow looking at a contractor if they had, is it a 3-star, a 4-star average, 4.5 star, or you would never hire under 4.5 star? Where would you bat an eye?
Even if they have like a 4.8 average review or like even a 5, I go through personally if I can, and like really will read through like the 1-star reviews, because sometimes you'll find like, one that's like, no, this sounds like a Google bot or like a competitor wrote it. Like, this sounds so fake. And I feel like I, being somebody that works for like an app for contractors, can be a little more discerning than maybe like the average public on what is like a bogus one. And I work in marketing, so I know how like the bots work. But I do go through and actually read those like low reviews to see like what was the issue here. But we recently, I'll tell you one too. We were recently looking. We have a tile roof and on our like a Ludovici tile roof on our 110-year-old house.
Yeah.
And we're gonna take it off and switch to like an architectural grade shingle because the cost of like actually relaying the tile is just
Yeah.
astronomical, and we need
Now,
all
is it
new underlay.
slate or tile?
No, it's
Like
like
actual.
terracotta, the French
Whoa,
profile. It's beautiful, but it is such a headache.
I bet. Probably
And
it's hard to find a contractor that fixes that too, probably, right?
there's not very many in Nebraska even. I mean, we had called like a couple people in Iowa. It was kind of nuts just trying to find somebody. And even like a roofing contractor that's putting on like shingles, when they hear you have a tile roof, they're like, yeah, well, we're pretty booked up for the next 6 months.
Oh,
Maybe
would you
call
look at
back
time?
next year.
Interesting. Yeah,
So
they don't even want to touch it. Interesting.
yeah, we actually found a company that I was like, yeah, I think maybe we'll go with them because we have from like some bad gutters, we've got a couple rafter tails that are split from like the gutters leaking. So we need some rafter tail repairs. So we looked and called like a couple places for bids here locally. And one, we were like pretty close to accepting the bid, the proposal. And a neighbor walked by and was like, hey, I saw you had that truck outside. What kind of project? Because they're like a total general contractor, do lots of interior remodel stuff and exterior work. And she was like, I just want you to know, like, we had personally kind of a bad experience with some work that they did in our
Mm,
basement. And sometimes I think, no matter what you read online, good, the bad, the true, the fake, sometimes like when you hear from a neighbor that they had a bad experience, it's like,
right.
okay, well, I got 3 other bids and I think we'll just look at those. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's
those like word of mouth go a long way, definitely.
yeah. Yeah. In that case, the kiss of death, or the affirming notion to go with a contractor, right? That's the review,
Definitely.
and that's like you said earlier, talking about like the crushed pipe or downspout or whatever. Like it is that that $50 repair or whatever that is seriously worth thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to you, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well,
Really,
for
your
that
best not
company,
to just
it was
quarrel
like
over that.
what, $50,000 roof and exterior bid that it cost them because I heard they had like our neighbor had a bad
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, boy, if that's not the takeaway of the show, folks, I don't know what isn't. Like, that is a big deal. So don't quarrel or squabble over the little things. Just and again, that has to do with
Fix it.
pricing. You gotta price your work to where there is a fudge factor in there, so you can provide that excellent customer service, right? Because you're making some money and you can afford to provide awesome customer service. That's just at the end of the day
Definitely.
the way it goes. Ellie,
Definitely.
I'm getting into more your time than I told you I was going to, and
All good.
anything.
I'm so glad I was here.
Oh well, what aside from the blueprint event coming up, and then the teaser on some sort of review system thing or something. Anything else you want to touch on or cover on here before you got to
Yeah,
split on me?
the one like new feature that I don't think I've like talked to you about yet, and I think maybe I mentioned it in passing, but you can actually like sign documents now in CompanyCam, and that's a new one that
Yeah.
we just rolled out. So if like your audience hasn't heard about that, I think that's huge. It's an add-on to a premium subscription. Totally worth it to like get everything in one app. So you're not paying like a ton of money for like a hello sign or one of those like premium signature Adobe Acrobat signing, whatever you're doing to sign documents. I know there's a ton of different tools out there that you can use, but just get it in CompanyCam, get it all in one app, and then you can upload your documents right in there. Super slick.
Yeah, absolutely. That actually kind of dovetails into maybe the last thing here is like, what's
Yeah.
there's other apps out there in Google Drive and all that junk. Like, what's the differentiator? Like, well, I just put all this in a Google Drive, whatever.
I'll do
Like,
this on
what?
Dropbox.
Yeah,
We get a
right.
lot
Yeah,
of
like I could take a Polaroid and put it in a file, and a Polaroid. That's showing my age. Nobody listening to this knows what a freaking Polaroid is anymore.
that.
Anyhow,
I
I'm
take
old.
all my SD cards to Walgreens Photo and I have them print them and I put them in a binder. I don't need your app, right?
There we
No,
go.
I
Right.
think
Yeah,
that
my SD cards. Yeah, that's even, it's so funny. It's even like old school now, right? Like I saw a reel the other day. Somebody mentioned floppy disks are 40 years old now. Like,
you're old,
ah,
Caleb. I'm sorry to tell you. You're
it's
getting up there.
horrible. It is. It's awful. Somebody mentioned like another meme that hurt my feelings was you're born in I was born in 1982, and it's like, oh, you were born in the late 1900s. I was like, oh, well, that stings a little bit. That's kind of harsh, but okay. So, anyways, okay.
I'm only 30, and I just saw a meme that was like somebody going to buy alcohol, and they just like glanced at the ID, and it was like a millennial that was like, don't you want to look a little closer? And it was like, no, I saw the 19. It's like, that's it. That's all I needed to see. It was like the first two numbers.
Kick me in the shins again. Jeez. Okay, fine. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Like, holy cow.
It is.
Ellie, what do you want to close with?
I would say definitely just get your tickets before they're sold out. We're like, doing a bunch of promo, and tickets are moving. You don't have to be a CompanyCam user to come to Blueprint. Just join us. I promise it'll be worth the $25. It'd be worth it if you had to pay full price at $100. But how about this? How about I spin up a promo code, like I said, for a $25 ticket, and we'll just do, what do you want it to be? Kid Contractor. It'll be in all caps.
That's long. You just want to do Amen, like just AUMAN.
Let's do Amen, and all of our promo codes are in all caps, so it's not just Amen, it's Amen, right?
Amen. You got to say it that way, though. Yeah, or you got to type with that. Yeah, since it's in all caps too, that works out really well.
Ominous, Yeah.
Yes, that is all, like with a lot of things right now. The CompanyCam, that all works out awesome. So, Ellie, so yeah, check out the Blueprint thing. That I think that is going to be a killer event. I mean, Sean Van Dyke, that's a big name. That's a big deal.
Yeah,
so
we're like 2 weeks out tomorrow. So get
that's from the Dallas
event. If you're in Dallas.
Yeah. Okay. And let's see here for a timeline. Today is April 17th or something, 18th. I don't know, somewhere in there. Yep. 18th, 1/8. So yeah, that's getting real close here. So, all right. Well, Ellie, thanks for your time here today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us here. And thank you for your support of the Kid Contractor podcast. Folks, if nothing else, even just check out CompanyCam, maybe even shoot them a DM on Instagram. And just, if you would ever be so gracious to do that and just say, hey, I know of CompanyCam because of Kid Contractor podcast. That would help us keep the lights on here and keep this crazy show rolling, folks. Ellie, again, thank you. Good luck restoring your next mid-century piece. And
thank you.
and
I got a royal dresser with my name on it.
Yeah. One last thing too is what is your official title and deal? What do you do at CompanyCam too, by the way?
Yeah. So I'm on the marketing team. I manage our partnerships and our events. So I just moved over. So I used to work on our like trades targeting team, learning like all the in-depth use cases of CompanyCam. And now I'm over in partnerships and events. So I get to work with a lot of manufacturers and our biz dev team, all of our like sponsors for events and stuff. So.
Okay, cool. Well, that's So you know the product. I mean, you were in an area where you learned the product really well, and now you're able to really promote it, which is awesome. That's super cool. Okay, like the fourth closing now. Ellie, thanks again for being on the show. I sure appreciate it.
Thank you. You have a great day.
All right, folks, from the CompanyCam studios here, Kid Contractor podcast. We will catch you on the next one. And in the meantime, if you didn't take a photo of it before, can you even really claim you did that work? All right, folks, we're out of here. We'll see you.